Hi gentlemen and ladies. In this videos we will talk about the most significant events of the week. Basically, the news will relate to the war and everything connected with it. So let's get started. The occupiers fired at Energodar, there are wounded. As a result of shelling of Energodar, which was carried out today from the suburbs, the area of the yacht club, Volna, there are casualties among the civilian population in the first micro-district. The strike by Ukrainian defenders on the Antonivsky Bridge in Kherson region on the night of August 14 has been confirmed, said Natalia Humenyuk, press secretary of the United Coordination Press Center of the Southern Defense Forces. A blow was struck again at the Antonivsky Bridge in order to permanently secure its status as impassable. Explosions are reported in the port of the temporarily occupied Berdyansk. Russian propagandists claim that the armed forces of Ukraine struck the base of the Wagnerites in Popasnaya. To date, the following have been demilitarized. Anton Listopad, one of the best Ukrainian pilots, died. A few days before his death, on the day of the Air Force of Ukraine, he received the Order of Courage 3 degree from the President. In 2019, Anton Listopad was recognized as the best pilot of Ukraine. During the military parade in Kyiv in honor of the 30th anniversary of Ukraine's independence, he led the aviation convoy that flew over Kreshchatyk. Russians are 73 times more likely to hit civilian targets than military ones, says Yevhen Yenin, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine. We see the numbers. More than 22,000 civilian objects are affected and only about 300 military objects. Forces of Ukraine probably destroyed more than 100 Wagnerians from the leadership team with a pinpoint strike on the base in Popasnaya.
Нещодавно ту бавовну, як ми вже звикли називати, яка відбулася в Попасні.
In the so-called DNR, 5 more foreigners from Great Britain, Sweden and Croatia, who fought on the side of Ukraine, were charged with being mercenaries. All of them refused to plead guilty in the so-called Supreme Court of the DNR. The Swedish home goods store, IKEA, has officially ended the sale of goods and closed its sales points in the Russian Federation forever. Stores will be closed and will be open only for issuing completed orders, returning and exchanging goods. It is reported that there are 2 fires in the Zhenkoye region of Crimea. A warehouse with ammunition and an electrical substation are on fire. Evacuation of the population began near Zhenkoye due to the detonation of ammunition. Fundraising for Bayraktar for Ukraine started in Latvia. The initiative was published on Tuesday, August 16. In total, €5 million must be collected for Latvian Bayraktar. The occupiers shell Ukrainian positions 700 to 800 times every day, releasing 40,000 to 60,000 rounds of ammunition, said the head of the Armed Forces of Ukraine Zaluzhny. 2 explosions as a result of a rocket attack were confirmed in the territory of Zhytomyr district, the head of the Zhytomyr Ova. In Zhytomyr region, the Russians hit the military airfield with missiles, the press service of the Center Air Command. It is reported that the runway and several pieces of automobile equipment were damaged as a result of the impact. To date, the following have been demilitarized. Explosions in Kharkiv. Unfortunately, with the demolition of the rubble, the number of people killed by Russian missiles in Kharkiv is now provided by the following figures. Slobod district 4 dead, 22 wounded. Saltivsky district. People with hearing impairments were among those injured as a result of the Saltivka flight. Natalia Popova, advisor to the head of the Kharkiv Regional Council. The victims simply did not have a chance to be saved. They did not hear the alarm. 13 dead, 20 wounded. Krasnograd 2 dead, 3 wounded. The results of the HIMARS work regarding the location of the Russian occupiers in Novokakhovka are reported. About 12 Rashists were killed. Usyk sang Red Kalina during the press conference before the rematch with Joshua. Another fire in Crimea, Telegram channels report. This time, as they write, it is burning in Mizhvadi, in the northwestern part of Crimea. Explosions are reported in occupied Novaya Kakhovka and Energodar. For the 600 million hryvnias that Ukrainians raised for the purchase of Bayraktars, Serhiy Prytula's charitable foundation purchased a satellite. It will provide access to the AZ company's satellite image database for more than a year, which will enable the military to plan operational operations. The meeting between Zelensky and Erdogan began in Lviv, Turkish mass media. During the meeting, Zelensky and Erdogan discussed increasing exports from Ukraine, the theft of Russian grain from occupied Ukrainian territories, and defense cooperation. A memorandum was signed on the post-war reconstruction of Ukraine's infrastructure. The first project may be the reconstruction of the Romanov Bridge in the Kyiv region, the office of the president reported. Occupied Crimea, tornado and flood. The General Directorate of Intelligence reports that on August 24, the Russians will hold a show trial of prisoners from Azovstal in the premises of the Mariupol Chamber Philharmonic. Intelligence believes that the Russians can launch a pinpoint missile attack on the premises and shift the blame for the committed crime to Ukraine. Estonia will propose to the European Commission to introduce the 8th package of sanctions against Russia, air. The 8th package of sanctions included expanded sanctions against Russia in the economic, energy and trade sectors. Estonia also wants the sanctions to be widely extended to the trips of the citizens of Poland to Europe. Here's what the Russian ambassador to Austria said in response to Zelensky's tweet about a new package of American military aid. He immediately deleted his tweet and later wrote this. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine called on Austria to expel a diplomat. A drone flew onto the roof of the headquarters of the Black Sea Fleet. Unfortunately, no one was shot down, although they worked on the bay with small arms. A big fire near the airport in Sochi. Bakhchisarai 3 explosions, smoke over the airfield. The first photos of the house in Voznesensk near which the rocket hit. 9 wounded, including 4 children. Children are all difficult, age from 3 to 17 years. The president of Estonia started weaving nets for the armed forces of Ukraine and, together with volunteers, knitted 9,000 square meters. We can all do something to help Ukraine win the war, he emphasized. The jeep of the daughter of the main ideologue of Russian peace in Russia, Alexander Dugin, was blown up near Moscow. Alexander Usyk won the fight with Joshua in super heavyweight. Ukrainian pilots are already training on the famous American A-10 Thunderbolt attack aircraft.
Where the Ukrainians are learning how to use an airplane, how to fly an airplane, an American one called the A-10 Warthog. It was designed a long time ago, in the 1970s.
In the room, 5 Ukrainian pilots were trained on simulators. Each computer has a realistic joystick and virtual reality glasses. A parade of Russian military equipment is taking place in the central square of Kyiv. Demilitarized.
I was Sauron in Lord of the Rings, but even I am shocked by the absolute evil that Ukrainians are fighting. On behalf of the global orc diaspora, I want to make an important request. Please don't call Russians orcs. It offends us.
The Russian Federation partially closes the airspace of the Lipetsk, Voronezh and Belgorod regions from August 22 to 25. Well, friends, that's all the news this week. We are closely watching what is happening. After all, who owns the information, owns the whole world. Subscribe to the channel. There will be a lot of news. See you soon.